Imagine a young girl on horseback. She moves quietly through tall grass with a baby on her back. Her name is Sacagawea. She's not just riding, she's leading important men through a new land. Sacagawea was born around 1788. She was a part of the Shoshone tribe. They lived in what is now Idaho and Montana. When she was about 12, other people took her away from her tribe. They were called the Hidatsa. She had to live in a new place, far from her home.
As she grew up, Sacagawea married a French-Canadian man. His name was Toussaint Charbonneau. They had a baby boy named Jean-Baptiste in 1805. Sacagawea was still young, but she became very important in an adventure. This was the Lewis and Clark expedition. She spoke 2 native languages. This helped the explorers a lot. She also knew the land well. With her baby, she made the group look friendly to other tribes. Her presence was very important.
The big land deal called the Louisiana Purchase was a very important event. This deal made the United States much bigger. It was in 1803 when the U.S. bought land from France. Think of all the new places to explore. President Jefferson wanted to know more about this land. He was very curious about what lived there and who lived there. He dreamed of a river that could take people across to the Pacific Ocean.
To explore this new land, President Jefferson needed the right people. He chose Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. These were smart and brave men. Lewis was Jefferson's own secretary. He loved nature. Clark was a great leader and could make excellent maps. Their team was called the Corps of Discovery. Imagine traveling to find new things. Support our work by clicking Join. It will help us continue, and you get video transcripts too.
The journey began in St. Louis. It was May 1804. The group started moving up the Missouri River. They had one big boat and some small ones. Rowing was hard work. They had to go against the water flow. Sandbars made it even harder. Sometimes they had to stop and pull the boat over the sand. But they did not give up. They were ready to face all challenges.
The weather was also a big problem. Storms made the river dangerous. Heavy rain soaked their clothes. And the mosquitoes came in big numbers. The men were always scratching. But Lewis and Clark kept writing in their journals. They made notes about the land and plants. They also drew maps and wrote about the animals they saw. This information was very important for future travelers.
During the winter of 1804, the Corps of Discovery made a stop at Fort Mandan. This was in a cold and snowy part of the country. It was here that they met a young woman named Sacagawea. She was living with the Hidatsa people, far from her original home. Her journey here began much earlier, as she'd been taken from her tribe when she was only a child.
At Fort Mandan, there was a man named Toussaint Charbonneau. He was French and worked as an interpreter. Knowing several languages, he was a valuable part of the team. But it was Sacagawea who caught the attention of Lewis and Clark. They saw something special in her and decided she would be very helpful for their mission. Her knowledge of the land and languages was needed for the expedition.
Sacagawea had lived with the Hidatsa ever since being taken from her own tribe. The life she led was different from what she had known before. The Hidatsa were not her family, but she adapted and made a new life there. Meeting the Corps of Discovery was a big change for her. It opened up a whole new world and a chance to see new and old lands.
When Charbonneau joined the Corps, he asked to bring Sacagawea too. This decision was very important. Her presence was more than helpful. It was pivotal. Her abilities to speak different languages and her deep knowledge of the area meant she was the key to many challenges ahead. With her and Charbonneau on board, Lewis and Clark had the team they needed for the journey.
In the journey with the Corps, Sacagawea did more than just travel. She knew which plants were safe to eat. This was so important because finding food was hard. Rivers were strong, and the land was not easy. When the group got hungry, Sacagawea showed them where to find plants and roots they could eat. Her knowledge kept the group strong and ready for the challenges.
Sacagawea was not just helpful with plants. She also knew how to keep the peace with the tribes they met. She talked to people in their own languages. When tribes saw her with a baby, they knew the group meant no harm. This helped the explorers stay safe and friendly. Her presence showed the native people that the group did not come to fight.
There was a time when the group needed horses to travel farther. Sacagawea helped them get horses from her Shoshone tribe. This was so important. The journey has many steep mountains to climb. Without horses, it would be too hard to move their stuff. Meeting her brother, the Shoshone chief, made this possible. Her family connection saved the journey from stopping early.
Sacagawea's quick thinking saved the group's important gear too. Once, a boat tipped over and things fell into the river. She didn't panic. Instead, she quickly helped save maps and books from the water. These maps were really important for their journey. They showed new paths and helped find their way. Sacagawea was always ready to help, protecting the journey's success at every step.
The journey was very hard. They crossed many rivers and climbed over tall mountains. At times, the group was so hungry. The wind was cold and the rain never seemed to stop. But they kept moving forward. Sacagawea was part of this brave group. She went through these hard times with strength. Even with the baby, she helped others keep hope alive. Without her, the group might have given up.
Finally, they heard a new sound. It was the ocean. The team was so happy. They reached the Pacific Ocean after such a long trip. William Clark wrote in his diary about the great joy they felt. This moment was big for them. It showed that the journey was not just a dream. It was real, and they did it together. This was a key step in expanding America to the West.
After reaching the Pacific, the group had to make the journey back. It was not easy. They had to cross rivers and mountains again and find food along the way. In September 1806, they finally arrived back in St. Louis. Life in the city was very different from their adventure in nature. Sacagawea, with her husband Charbonneau and their son, went back to their normal life. But her story was far from over.
Sacagawea's presence during the journey helped her son, Jean-Baptiste, in future. Lewis and Clark cared about Sacagawea's family. They helped Jean-Baptiste get an education. He grew up to travel far and wide, even to Europe, becoming a respected man. Sacagawea's part in shaping his future shows how important she was in more ways than one. Her legacy reached far beyond the expedition.
Over time, people began to recognize Sacagawea's contributions. She had been almost forgotten. But then, monuments were built in her honor. Schools and parks were named after her, too. All this showed how her brave actions were valued. Her story became a symbol of strength and courage. In 2000, Sacagawea was honored on a $1 coin. It was a special moment, celebrating her as a key figure in American history.
Being on a coin made Sacagawea one of the first Native American women to be recognized in such a big way. Her image with her baby showed her strength and kindness. The $1 coin was not just about Sacagawea. It was about recognizing the impact she had on America's story. Her legacy reminds us of the quiet heroes who, without seeking fame, play big roles in shaping the world. Please like our podcast and subscribe for more. You can find the join button on YouTube. By joining, you help us keep making great content. As a member, you will get video transcripts and extras. We really thank you for your support. It helps us a lot and lets us tell more amazing stories. We hope you enjoy learning with us and stay with us for more.